Have you ever noticed that your money seems to lose its power over time? It is not just your imagination, it is a hidden force called inflation that slowly eats away at everything you own. Most people believe their savings are safe in a bank account, but the truth is far more concerning. Every single day, the purchasing power of those hard-earned dollars is quietly and steadily diminishing forever. Imagine walking into a store where the prices change before you even reach the checkout counter. This silent thief doesn't take your physical cash instead, it simply makes the money you have worth much less. Even if you work harder and earn more, you might find yourself struggling to keep up with the rising costs of living. It feels like running on a treadmill that keeps getting faster and faster. The price of assets like housing and fuel continues to climb higher every year. While the numbers on your screen stay the same, the actual value of what you can buy is shrinking right now. Economic experts often talk about a small amount of inflation being healthy for the global economy. However, for the average person trying to save for the future, it feels more like a slow-motion disaster. If you leave your wealth sitting in cash, you are essentially losing a percentage of your life's work every year. It is an invisible tax that nobody ever voted for, but everyone pays. Think of your wealth as a reservoir of water meant to sustain your future. Inflation acts like tiny leaks in the container, slowly draining your resources until there is nothing left for your retirement. Understanding how this process works is the first step toward protecting yourself and your family. We need to look deeper into why prices rise and who actually benefits from this constant cycle of devaluation. Throughout history, currencies have come and gone, but the pattern of losing value remains the same. Our current financial system is built on a foundation that requires constant expansion, often at your personal expense. Gold used to be the standard that backed our money, providing a sense of stability and real value. Today, we use fiat currency, which can be printed in unlimited amounts by central banks worldwide. When the government prints more money, the total supply increases, which typically leads to higher prices for goods. It is a simple supply and demand equation that ends up hurting the average consumer most. You might have noticed that the size of your favorite snacks has decreased while the price has stayed the same. This is often called shrinkflation, a sneaky way for companies to hide rising costs. Essential items like food and energy are the most sensitive to these changes. When basic necessities become more expensive, people have less money to invest or save for their long-term financial goals and dreams. Central banks try to control the situation by adjusting interest rates, but this is often a double-edged sword. Higher rates can slow down the economy and make it much more expensive for you to borrow. Many people feel like they are drowning in debt because the cost of everything is rising faster than their wages. This creates a cycle of financial stress that is very difficult to escape without knowledge. If we look at the trajectory of the dollar over the last century, it has lost over 90% of its value. What will the world look like for our children if this trend continues? Investing is often seen as a luxury, but in an inflationary environment, it becomes a necessity for survival. You must find ways to make your capital grow faster than the rate of currency devaluation. Finding real value in today's market requires a lot of research and a shift in mindset. You have to look beyond the surface level and understand what truly stores wealth over long periods of time. The traditional advice of just saving money in a bank is no longer sufficient in the modern world. We must learn to adapt our strategies to protect our purchasing power against these constant economic shifts. History provides us with many warnings about what happens when a currency loses its value too quickly. From ancient Rome to modern times, the story of inflation is a recurring theme that every smart investor must study. It is often said that gold is the money of kings, while debt is the money of slaves. Bob is realizing that holding on to physical assets might be the only way to protect his family's long-term future. Education is the first step toward financial freedom in an unstable world. Once you understand how the system actually works, you can start making better decisions that will keep your wealth safe from the silent thief. This is not just a local problem, it is a global phenomenon affecting billions of people. As central banks coordinate their policies, the entire world is feeling the pressure of rising costs and diminishing purchasing power today. You should never put all your eggs in one basket, especially when the basket is leaking. Spreading your wealth across different types of assets can help you survive the unpredictable storms of the modern financial market. Finding a true north in the world of finance is difficult when everything is changing so fast. However, certain assets have stood the test of time and continue to provide a safe haven for those who know. True wealth is not about how many pieces of paper you have in your wallet. It is about how much labor and goods those papers can actually buy when you need them the most in your life. Working a normal job and saving money used to be enough to build a good life. But today, the escalator of inflation moves faster than most people can run. leaving many hardworking individuals feeling completely exhausted and stuck. Real commodities have intrinsic value because people need them to survive every day. When the currency fails, people always return to the basics like food, energy, and land to maintain their standard of living and security. The gap between the rich and the poor often widens during times of high inflation. Those who own assets get richer as prices rise, while those who only earn a wage find it harder to survive. Even a simple meal can become a luxury if the currency continues to lose its value at this current rate. We must ask ourselves if the current path is sustainable for the next generation of workers. Stability is built on a foundation of hard assets and smart choices. While others chase the latest trends and paper gains, Bob is focusing on building something that will last through the coming economic winter. Sometimes you have to look far beyond the traditional financial system to find real opportunities. The world is changing, and new technologies are offering different ways to store value outside of the traditional banking institutions. You cannot hide from the weather, and you cannot hide from the economic climate either. The best you can do is prepare yourself with the right tools and information to stay dry during the heavy rain. Unlocking the secrets of the financial world is the only way to truly protect what you have earned. Once you see the truth behind the curtain, you can never go back to being a passive victim. Navigating the modern economy feels like being lost in a giant maze with no exit in sight. Every turn leads to a new expense or a higher tax that makes reaching the end almost impossible. Time is your most precious resource, but inflation is essentially stealing your time by making your past labor worth less today. You are working longer hours just to stay in the same place as before. The balance of power in the economy is shifting, and those who do not adapt will be left behind. It is vital to understand the difference between price and value before it is too late. In the digital age, inflation can happen faster than ever before. With the click of a button, billions of dollars can be created, changing the economic landscape for everyone on the planet in an instant. Many economists treat the market like a science experiment, but they often forget the human element. When people lose faith in their money, the entire social contract begins to break down in very unpredictable ways. Relying on the government to save your wealth is like chasing a mirage in the desert. You must take personal responsibility for your financial health and stop waiting for someone else to fix the problem. The massive amount of global debt is a ticking time bomb that could explode at any moment. Inflation is often used as a way to burn away that debt, but it hurts the citizens. Even in a harsh economic environment, growth is still possible if you are patient and disciplined. Small investments made consistently over time can eventually break through the toughest obstacles and provide a very solid shade. It is time to have an honest conversation about what money really is. Is it just a piece of paper? Or is it a representation of your hard work and the energy you spend every day? Maintaining your standard of living during high inflation is like flying a kite in a storm. It requires constant attention and a very strong string to keep everything from blowing away into the dark sky. The game of finance is often rigged against the little guy, but that doesn't mean you can't win. By learning the rules and playing strategically, you can protect your assets and even thrive in uncertainty. Even a small amount of preparation can provide a lot of light when things get dark. Owning just a little bit of real value can give you peace of mind when the rest of the world. Inflation doesn't just raise prices, it can also destroy jobs by making it too expensive for businesses to operate. This creates a dangerous situation where costs go up while income levels stay completely flat. When the currency is being devalued, you need a heavy-duty solution to stay safe. Traditional savings accounts are like paper umbrellas. They simply cannot stand up to the force of a modern economic storm. At the end of the day, our basic needs are what matter the most. Inflation reminds us that we should value the real things in life and not get too distracted by the numbers. A forest fire of inflation can spread quickly once it starts, burning through the savings of an entire nation in just a few years. We must be vigilant and watch for the early warning signs. The move toward digital currencies might give the government even more control over your money and how you spend it. This could make the effects of inflation even harder to escape for the average person. Looking back at old prices can be a painful reminder of how much we have lost. What used to buy a whole car now might only buy a few bags of groceries at the store. Trying to plan for retirement is a moving target when the value of money is constantly changing. It is like trying to finish a puzzle where the pieces don't fit together the same way. Many people are looking for an alternative to the current system, searching for something that cannot be printed or manipulated by a small group of people in a room. The search for sound money. Walking the line between saving and spending is a delicate balance. If you spend too much, you have nothing for the future. But if you save cash, you lose value every single day of your life. The math of inflation is simple but devastating. If inflation is 5% and your bank pays you 1%, you are losing 4% of your wealth every year without even realizing what is happening. More money in the system does not mean more wealth for the people. It often just means more confusion and a higher cost of living for everyone involved in the economy, especially those at the bottom. New digital assets are emerging as a potential hedge against the traditional system. While they are volatile and risky, they represent a desire for a decentralized way to store value and transfer it safely. Gold has been recognized as value for thousands of years across every culture on Earth. It is the ultimate insurance policy against the failure of paper currencies and the mistakes of central bank leaders. It feels like we are all in a race against time and inflation. To win, we don't just need to run faster, we need to change the direction we are running in and find a better. Investing in productive assets is like planting a garden that feeds you forever. Whether it is a business or real estate, you want things that produce value regardless of what the currency is doing today. Don't be fooled by marketing and fancy words from the news. Always look at the real numbers and how much your grocery bill has actually increased over the last 12 months to see the truth. Before you invest, you must check the foundation. Is the company or asset built on real value, or is it just another bubble fueled by cheap money and high levels of unsustainable debt and leverage? The era of low interest rates and endless printing may be coming to a close. This transition will be painful for many, but it is a necessary part of the long-term economic cycle. In a world full of disposable things and fake value, finding something real is a treasure. We must learn to distinguish between what is temporary and what is truly permanent in our financial lives. Saving money without investing is a losing battle against the sun of inflation. No matter how much you pour in, the heat of the economy will take it away faster than you can work. Navigating through an inflationary period requires a steady hand and a clear set of instruments. You cannot fly blind and hope for the best. You need a plan and a destination for your wealth. Sometimes the smallest things can have the biggest impact on your financial security. A small allocation to real assets can balance out a large portfolio of paper risks and provide much-needed stability. We are not just making these decisions for ourselves, we are making them for the people we love. Leaving a legacy of real value is more important now than it has ever been in history. The way inflation is calculated is often changed to make the numbers look better than they really are. It is important to look at your own expenses rather than trusting the official government statistics. Once the floodgates of hyperinflation open, it is very difficult to close them again. We must hope for the best, but prepare for the worst by moving our wealth into safer, more durable assets now. The pace of change in the global economy is accelerating every day. What worked 10 years ago might not work today, and what works today might be totally obsolete by the time next year. Sometimes you need to step away from the noise of the news and the markets to think clearly. The big trends are often quiet and slow, like a river carving a canyon over many years. Central bank policies act like a magnet that disrupts our natural economic compass. It makes it very hard to know which way is up and which way is down when the signals are being manipulated. You are at war with inflation, whether you like it or not. You need to suit up and protect your family with the best financial armor available in the world today to survive the coming. A storm is coming, and it is made of devalued currency and broken promises. Those who have built their houses on the rock of real value will be the only ones standing when it finally passes. The time to act is now, before the next wave of inflation hits the market. Delaying your financial education is the most expensive mistake you can ever make in this fast-changing and very volatile world. Growth is a slow process that requires patience and care. Don't be discouraged by the chaos around you. Stay focused on your long-term goals and keep nurturing your assets every single day for success. Information is everywhere, but wisdom is rare. You must filter out the noise and find the timeless principles that have helped people preserve their wealth for centuries across many different cultures and financial systems. After the storm, there is always a period of calm and opportunity for those who survived. By protecting your wealth now, you will be in a position to help others and rebuild a better future. Passing on financial wisdom is just as important as passing on money. We must teach the next generation how to value their labor and how to protect themselves from the mistakes of the past generations. When you realize that our money is actually based on debt, your entire perspective changes forever. It is a system built on borrowing from the future to pay for the mistakes of the present. Like sunflowers, we should always turn toward the light of truth and real value. Don't let the shadows of the current financial system hide the opportunities that are right in front of your eyes. It is a heavy burden to carry, but you don't have to do it alone. Join a community of like-minded people who are also looking for ways to escape the trap of the modern economy. The choice is yours, and there is no single right answer for everyone. You must evaluate your own risk tolerance and your own goals to decide which door is the best one for you. Every crisis is also an opportunity to start fresh and build something better. Don't let fear paralyze you. Use it as a motivation to take action and secure your financial future right now, today. Real wealth is simple, tangible, and durable. It doesn't require a complex algorithm or a central bank's permission to exist. It is a piece of the earth that belongs to you and nobody else. Leaving the old system behind is a journey that starts with a single step. As Bob moves toward a more stable future, he feels lighter and more confident in his ability to survive and thrive. Thank you for joining Bob on this journey through the world of inflation and wealth. Remember to stay curious, stay informed, and most importantly, stay protected against the silent thief that is always watching.